على الوجه المرضي لديه في السر والإعلان، ندفع عنكم وعن الأمة البلايا والبلايا جميع الفتن ما ظهر منها مضضا، وحول أحوالنا والمسلمين إلى أحسن الأحوال، اختم لنا بالحسنى وراض عنا في لطف وعافية بسر الفاتحة إلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. هذا من كتاب الإمام الغزالي في شرع عجائب القلب من جملة كتابه أحياء علوم الدين.
So the book that we'll be studying is a book by Umar bin Hafiz titled The Marvels of the Heart. This is one of the books, 40 books of the Ahya al-Din.
ولم يلقب بين علماء السنة في المسلمين حجة الإسلام إلا هذا الكتاب.
Only Imam al-Ghazali amongst all the scholars of ISNA wal Jama'at were given the name Hujjat al-Islam, the proof of Islam.
وذكر الإمام أبو الحسن الشاذلي عليه رحمة الله رؤيا تتعلق بالإمام الغزالي.
And Imam Abu Hassan al-Shadhili mentioned a dream that he saw about Imam al-Ghazali.
في صحيح الإمام البخاري ذهبت النبوة وبقيت المبشرات.
We find in the authentic collection of Sahih Bukhari that our Prophet said that prophethood has gone, but what remains are these mubashirat, these givers of glad tidings.
قالوا وما المبشرات يا رسول الله؟ قال الرؤيا الصالحة يراها الرجل أو ترى له.
And then they asked the Prophet, and what are these mubashirat, these givers of glad tidings? And the Prophet said, it is a true dream that a believer sees or someone sees regarding him.
روي الإمام أبو الحسن الشاذلي قال رأيت أني دخلت إلى بيت المقدس فوجدت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على تخت مرتفع وحوله الأنبياء.
That the dream that Imam Umar Shadli saw was that he said that I saw in a dream that I was in Jerusalem and that the Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was on a raised platform and the other prophets were around him.
فسمعت موسى يقول له يا رسول الله إنك قلت علماء أمتي كأنبياء بني إسرائيل. قال نعم.
And that someone said that, oh Messenger of God, that we heard that you said that the scholars of my ummah, of my nation, are like the prophets of Bani Israel.
قال فهل ترينا واحد من علماء أمتك الذي هو كالأنبياء فينا؟
So then they asked the Prophet, will you show us one of these scholars from your ummah that is like the prophets of Bani Israel?
فالتفت صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أين الإمام أبو حامد الغزالي؟
And then the Prophet turned and he asked that where is Abu Hamid al-Ghazali?
فأقبل ودخل بينهم فجلس فسأله سيدنا موسى ما اسمك؟
And so Imam al-Ghazali came and he sat before them, and then the Prophet Moses, and he said, I asked him, what is your name?
قال اسمي محمد بن محمد الغزالي.
He said, my name is Muhammad, the son of Muhammad, the son of Muhammad al-Ghazali.
فأراد أن يختبره سيدنا موسى.
So Moses, Prophet Moses, Islam wanted to test Imam al-Ghazali.
قال له سألتك عن اسمك وأجيت لي باسم أبيك وجدك وقبيلك هذا من الأدب.
He said that I asked you merely about your name, but you gave me the name of your father and your grandfather and your tribe. He said, is this from proper etiquette and courtesy?
فالتفت الغزالي إلى سيدنا محمد يقول يا رسول الله أتأدب مع كلام الله تعالى أم أجيبه.
Then Imam Ghazali turned to the Prophet and said that, O Messenger of God, that should I have etiquette with the Kalim of Allah, the one who is spoken to by God, i.e. Moses, or should I respond to his question? The Prophet said, respond to his question.
قال وأنت يا كليم الله لما سألك ربك وما تلك بيمينك يا موسى قلت هي عصاي أتوكأ عليها وأشبها على غنمي ولي فيها مآرب أخرى ولم يسألك إلا ما تلك بيمينك فقط فكيف جئت بهذا كله.
And then that Imam Ghazali said to the Prophet Moses, and you, O Moses, when God asked you, what is that in your right hand, O Moses? And you respond to him by saying, that it is my staff, that I use it to walk with, I use it to herd my sheep, and I have other uses as well. And that God only asked you what was in your right hand, and you mentioned all of these other things as well. And so then Moses turned to the Prophet Muhammad and said that you were right, you told the truth, O Muhammad, that the scholars of your community are like the prophets of Bani Israel.
فخاطب النبي سيدنا موسى وعيسى فقال هل في أمتكما حبر كهذا؟ قال لا.
And then the prophet spoke to both Jesus and Moses, peace be upon them both, and said, do you have a scholar who likes him in either one of your two ummahs?
ولذا كان الصالحون يقولون من علامة علماء الدنيا كراهتهم لكتب الإمام الغزالي ومن علامة علماء الآخرة محبتهم لكتب الإمام الغزالي.
And this is why the righteous said that the sign of the scholars of the next world, the ulama al-akhirah, is their inclination towards the books of Imam Ghazali, and the sign of the scholars of this world, the present world, that is their dislike to the books of Imam Ghazali.
يتكلم عن مجمع أوصاف الكلام.
The chapter that we're on now is the chapter that is dealing with the summary of the qualities of the heart.
قال رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا به وبكم بدنيم إن الإنسان اصطحب في خلقته 4 شوائب الأوصاف السبوعية والبهيمية والشيطانية والربانية.
So that Imam Ghazali says that indeed in the human being dwell together that 4 different realities. That the first is the predatorial qualities, the second the bestial qualities, the demonic qualities, and the lordly qualities.
فمن حيث سلط عليه الغضب يتعاطى أفعال السباع من العداوة والبغضاء والتهجم بالضرب والشتم.
Insofar as that anger rules over him, then he will be overcome by the various acts of predatory beasts, from enmity, hatred, attacking people, insulting others.
ومن حيث سلطت عليه الشهوة يتعاطى أفعال البهائم من الإشبال والحرص.
And insofar as that the desire rules over him, that he will be overcome by the acts of animals, things like gluttony and greed.
ومن حيث أنه في نفسه أمر رباني كما قال تعالى والروح من أمر ربي فإنه يدعي بنفسه الربوبية ويحب الاستيلاء والاستعلاء والتخصص والتفرد بالرئاسة والانسلال عن العبودية والتواضع والاطلاع على العلوم.
And insofar as he is in and of himself, the Amar Rabbani, the divine ordering affair, as God says in the Quran, say that the Spirit is from the command of my Lord, that he that will claim for himself will be at lordship, and that he will naturally incline towards things like mastery, superiority, exclusiveness, that always wanting to be the sole ruler, slipping away from servitude and humility, and wanting to know all things.
ومن حيث يختص عن البهائم بالتمييز مع مشاركته لها بالغضب والشهوة حصلت فيه شيطانية فصار يستعمل التمييز في استنباط وجوه الشر ويتوصل إلى الأغراض بالمكر والحيلة والخداع ويظهر الشر في معرض الخير وهي أخلاق الشياطين.
And insofar as he differs from animals and he uses his faculty of discernment, sharing with them in anger and desire, that he attains to these demonic qualities, such that he will use this tamyiz, this faculty of discernment, to find ever ways to discover ways of evil, and he'll seek to attain his wants and his needs by ways of guile, deceit, and cunning.
إذا تأمل كل واحد منا نفسه يجد هذه المعاني موجودة في باطنه.
If every one of us thinks about our own self, that we will find every single one of these meanings exist within us. That we find that we're naturally disposed to get angry as well as to be overcome by desire.
نهايات المجاهدات للنفس والتزكية لها ترجع إلى ضبط هاتين القوتين بميزان الشرع والعقل.
And the end result of the spiritual struggle is to be able to control these two faculties, i.e. the faculty of desire and the faculty of anger, and put them under the direction of the intellect and the sacred law.
كما يصادف الإنسان في نفسه دعوة وإرادة استعلاء.
That just as we find that the human being will incline towards claiming things and incline towards wanting to rise above others,
فإنما يتهذب بواسطة التزكية واستماع الوحي واتباع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And this is why it is ever important for us to concern ourselves with purification and to listening to revelation and the sacred words of our Prophet.
وإلا فكثير من الناس لو تيسرت لهم الظروف التي تيسرت لفرعون لقال أحدهم أنا ربكم الأعلى.
Otherwise, that were we to find it facilitated, what was facilitated for Pharaoh from the Pharaoh, all of these outward things, that you would have found that were they to have been put in that same situation, they would have said just as he said, in other words, that I am the Lord Most High.
فإذا لم يتيسر له قول ذلك وجدت عنده تصرفات كقول من يقول ذلك.
That even if this person might not say that statement, that terrible statement, that you find that the acts that they do are similar to the acts of the Pharaoh himself.
فيحتاج إلى أن يعرف حقيقة نفسه ليخرج من رجسه إلى قدسه.
This is why the human being must know the true nature of his own soul, so that he can free himself from his impurities and move back to its sacred reality.
وإذا نظرنا إلى البهائم فيما تشتهي وجدناها ليست لها حيل في استنباطه ولا تفنن فيه بخلاف الإنسان.
That when we look at the animal kingdom, that we find that when they want something, things that they desire, that they don't have these fancy ways of using deceit and guile to attain their desires like human beings do.
المأكولات مثلا التي تتناول أشياء مخصوصة تتناول ما قرب إليها أو حصلت عليه في وقت جوعها.
We find that the various desires that animals have from among the various things that they eat, that when it comes time for them to eat what they need to eat, that they find that without having to go through a process to attain it like humans.
فإذا شبعت تركته ولم تتناول منه شيء.
And that if they take their fill, that they eat what they need and then that they move along after that.
ولم تتحيل بوضع مواد أخرى وتزيينها وحتى تنفتح شهيتها.
And so that animals don't, did you find that animals, that they don't try to put other substances into changing the nature of the food, nor do they ignore it and to prepare it in ways like humans.
لكن الإنسان يتفنن تفننا طويلا ويجعل ترتيبات وتدبيرات كثيرة لينوع المادة الواحدة لكذا كذا لون من الطبخ والأنواع، وإذا كلت نفسه من هذا تناول إلى الثاني فصار عنده من التدبير والحيل في جلب شهوات ما ليس عند البهائم.
Such as you see that the human being is different in the regard that he is constantly finding new types of food to eat in different ways to attain different types of food, and rather even one particular type of food he'll find multiple ways of cooking it and preparing it and using this discretion that he's been given for this desire of food and finding different ways to eat the same food and to search for different types of food.
فلهذا قال بعضهم إننا نظلم البهائم لما نصف من غلبت عليه شهوة من الناس بأنه كالبهيمة.
And this is why that we say that the human being can transgress, that when their desire extends beyond the limits, such that it is beyond even the limits of the animals.
قال فيقولون شهوة بهيمية وأجدر أن يقولوا شهوة إنسانية.
And so that this is in a sense that the human being is oppressing animals, because we say that when their desire, they transgress in the desires, that they're like animals, but in reality that it's not an animal-like desire, because animals don't have it, it's a human-like desire. It's more apt to say that.
لكن لم يستعمل ذلك لأن أصل الإنسان كرامة وفيه روح تهوى المعالي والرفعة، وهذا شذوذ من الإنسان.
And so that we don't say that it's a human desire, because that this is not the origin. The origin of the human being is something great and something lofty from his soul being in the divine presence.
يقول فكأن المجموعة في إيهاب الإنسان خنزير هو الشهوة وكلب هو الغضب وشيطان يهيج شهوة الخنزير وغيظ السبع وحكيم وهو العقل.
So every man has within him a mixture of these qualities. The pig is appetence or desire, the dog is anger, and then there's the demonic presence which stirs up the desire of the pig and the wrath of the beast. And then a third aspect which is the hakim, which is the wise one, the sage, which is the intellect.
وهو أي الإنسان مأمور بأن يدفع كيد الشيطان بأن يكشف عن تلبيسه وأن يكسر شهوة الخنزير بتسليط الكلب عليه ويدفع ضراوة الكلب بتسليط الخنزير عليه فإن فعل ذلك استقام أمره وحاله وجرى على الصراط المستقيم وإن عجز عن قهرها قهروه واستخدموه فإذا يزال في تدقيق الفكر ليشبع الخنزير ويرضي الكلب فيكون دائما في عبادة كلب وخنزير.
And so, the human being is duty bound to ward off the plotting of the demons by revealing their deception, and to also break the desire of the pig by setting the faculty of anger over it, and to also ward off the savagery of the dog by setting the faculty of desire over it. And if the human being does that, uses the faculties in these ways, that his affair will be set aright, and his state will proceed towards the straight path. And if he's unable to overcome these different faculties that are trying to lead him astray, they will bring him into servitude. And thus his state will be that he will continuously use this noble intellect of his only to satisfy his pig-like nature and to please his dog-like nature, and such it is as if he would be in reality in constant worship of both his dog and pig-like nature.
فظهرت هنا المهمة الكبرى لعقل الإنسان وما أوتي من إدراك ومعرفة.
And it is here that the duty of the intellect becomes clear, and what the human being has been given of knowledge and perception.
فيستبين ما يلقى إليه من خواطر وما يلبس عليه عدوه من التلبيسات التي ترديه.
That the intellect is supposed to understand these various notions or suggestions, i.e. thoughts that come to the heart, and to know which of them are good for him, which of them are not, and to understand which of them are the guile of the shaitan.
ويحسن التدبير ما بين الشهوة والغضب ليقود كل واحد منهما بزمام رصين فيستر عنهما ما ينفع وينزجران عن ما يضر.
And the intellect is supposed to interact accordingly with both his anger and his desire, and to be able to put each in its in its proper place, not exceeding the limits.
فإذا مالت النفس إلى ما بطبيعتها إلى ما يضرها في دينها أو دنياها سلط عليها قلب الغضب فغضب عليها وزجرها وردها.
And so that if his nafs, if his soul inclines towards something that is inappropriate or blameworthy in the sacred law, that he uses this faculty of anger, he uses his anger, and he puts it, and he makes and he becomes angry, and such that he uses his faculty to overcome the faculty of desire and to put it in its proper place and to keep it in check.
وإذا ثارت ثائرة الغضب في غير موضعها خففها وسلط عليها رغبة الشهوة في شيء فرجاها بشيء ونهى حتى تنكسر ثورة حدتها في الغضب.
And the opposite of well, that if he becomes angry for an inappropriate reason, and in this case that he will use the faculty of desire, and he will use his desire to keep anger in its proper place by making himself and his lower soul incline towards something that is good, to then keep that anger in check.
هذه المهمة الكبرى لعقل الإنسان ووعيه وإدراكه وفكره.
This is the greatest purpose of the human being's intellect, and the reason that we've been given consciousness and discernment and have the ability to perceive.
فإذا تعطلت صارت حقيقته كمن له أذن لا يسمع بها وعين لا يبصر بها وقلب لا يفقه به.
And that if the intellect is not used for this reason, it is like someone who has eyes but doesn't see with him, or ears but doesn't hear with him, or that has a heart that doesn't understand through it.
قال وهذا حال أكثر الناس.
And then Imam Ghazali says that this is the state of the majority of people.
إذ كل من لم يتبع الأنبياء ولم تغلب عليه فطرته السليمة يعيش عابدا لخنزير شهوته وكلب غضبه حتى يموت.
Because the reality is, anyone who does not follow the messages of the prophets, and that they don't have their natural, and they allow themselves to overcome this natural disposition, which is good, that you will find that they will always be in a state that is blameworthy.
ولكن أهل التزكية على غير ذلك، فهذا الصالح لما قابله بعضهم بالسب والشتم أجابه فقال لأغيظن من أمرك بذلك علي، فعفى عنه وأحسن إليه قال خذ هذا. ماذا عملت؟ قال أغضت الذي أمره بسبي، قال وهو إبليس أمره أن يسبني، فأنا عالجت ذلك وأغضت الذي أمره بسبي، فلم تثر منه ثائرة الغضب ولم ينتقم لنفسه، ولكن كان بهذا الحال.
Whereas we see that the righteous, they're not like the vast majority. That there's a story where there was a righteous man that when someone insulted him and cursed him, that he responded to this person by saying that I'm going to extremely anger the one who told you to do that. This person was a bit perplexed, and he said that what he ended up doing was partying him and doing something nice to him. And then he said to him that by responding to you in the way that I did, that I'm going to extremely anger Shaitan, because he's the one who told you to do that.
ولما قالوا للحسن البصري إن فلان وفلانا جالسين يغتابونك، ذهب فأخرج سلة ملأها بالفاكهة وجابها إليهم وقال خذوا هذا لا أستطيع أن أكافئكم، فقد سمعت أنكم أهديتم إلي حسناتكم وهي باقية، فما أستطيع أن أكافئكم إلا بهذا الذي يفنى والقليل فاقبلوه مني.
And when a couple people told Imam al-Hasan al-Basri that there was a particular individual that was backbiting him, that Imam al-Hasan al-Basri, that he went and he grabbed a basket of fruits and he went and he gave this particular individual a gift, and they were a bit, amazed at what had happened. And he said that it reached me that you were backbiting me, and in reality what you were doing is you were gifting me that your good deeds. And he said that I didn't want to accept your good deeds and not recompense you for them.
ولأجل أن يحذر من الغيبة بعض العقلاء العارفين قال لو كنت مغتابا أحدا من الناس لاغتبت أمي. قال ها تغتاب أمك؟ قال لأنها أولى بحسناتي من أي أحد آخر.
And one of the righteous said that were I to backbite anyone, I would have backbited my mother. I said, well, if you're going to backbite your mother, and he said that because the reality is if I'm going to give my good deeds to anyone, I would rather give them to my mother.
ولما كان سيدنا عيسى سائرا مرة لقي سفيها فسبه فدعا له سيدنا عيسى، فسبه ثانيا فدعا له ثانيا، فسبه ثالثا فدعا له ثالثا، فقال الذين معه إنه يسبك وأنت تدعو له ما يمدحك الآن. فقال سيدنا عيسى كل ينفق مما عنده.
And so that one time the Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, was walking, and that there was someone who was insulting him, and that he insulted him the first time and he prayed for him. And when this fool insulted him the second time, that he also prayed for him. He did this a third time, and the Prophet Jesus prayed for him a third time. And they asked him about this, that every time he insults you, that you're just praying for him. And he says that everyone gives only from that which they have internally.
ومثل هذه الأخلاق شاهدناها في كثير ممن أدركناهم وفي مشايخنا الذين تلقينا عنهم، فلأن سر التربية بحمد الله باق في الأمة إلى آخر الزمان، فالله يجعل لنا نصيب منه.
And these character traits about which we are speaking, we've seen these in many of the scholars that we ourselves have met, and that the secret of spiritual discipline remains until the end of time.
يقول والعجب ممن ينكر على عبدة الأصنام عبادتهم للحجارة ولو كشف الغطاء عنه وكشف بحقيقة حاله لرأى نفسه ماثلا بين يدي خنزير ساجدا له مرة وراكعا أخرى ومنتظرا لإشارته وأمره أو رأى نفسه ماثلا بين يدي كلب عقور عابدا له مطيعا سامعا وهذا غاية الظلم.
And then Imam Ghazali says that the amazing thing is about people that reject or disapprove of the idolatrous worship of stones, for instance, and were the veil to be removed, and were the reality of their state to be unveiled, that they would have seen themselves standing before a pig, prostrating to him sometimes, and other times kneeling before him, waiting his signal and his command. Or that he would see himself standing before a savage dog, worshiping him, that obeying him, listening to his command, and this is the utmost oppression.
قال ثم إنه يترتب على طاعة خنزير الشهوة صدور صفة الوقاحة والخبث والتبديل والتكتيل والرياء والمجانة والعبث والحرص والجشع والملك والحسد والحقد والشماتة وغيرها.
And then that from following the pig-like desire that exists within the human being, that it leads to a whole bunch of blameworthy qualities. From among them, listing them, shamelessness, wickedness, wastefulness, avarice, hypocrisy, wantonness, frivolity, greed, covetousness, flattery, envy, rancor, rejoicing at another's evil, and so on.
ويصدر عن طاعة كلب الغضب صفة التحور والبذالة والبذخ والصرف والاستشاطة والتكبر والعجب والاستهزاء والاستخفاف وتحقير الخلق وإرادة الشر وشهوة الظلم.
As for obeying the dog-like nature of anger that exists within the human being, what emanates from that are again a number of negative qualities, blameworthy qualities. From among them, recklessness, squandering, haughtiness, boasting, having a hot temper, pride, conceit, sneering, disregard, and despising people, willing evil, having a lust for oppression, and so on.
وأما طاعة الشيطان بطاعة الشهوة والغضب فيحصل منها صفة المكر والخداع والحيلة والدهاء والجرأة والتلبيس والغش والخب وأمثالها.
As for obeying the demonic-like nature, the demonic qualities, that through desire and anger, that what results from them are again a number of blameworthy qualities like guile, deceit, craftiness, cunning, fraud, obscenity, and audacity, and so forth.
فجميع الصفات القبيحة والأخلاق المذمومة عند الإنسان نتيجة عن طاعة كلب الغضب أو خنزير الشهوة أو الشيطان الملبس الماكر.
So all negative and blameworthy qualities that emanate from the human being are from obeying one of these three realities that exist within the human being. Either the pig-like nature of desire, the dog-like nature of anger, or the demonic impulses.
وقد كان بعض الصالحين في القرون الأولى يلح على الله تعالى بدعاء ليحفظه من الشيطان، ورأى الشيطان فقال له لك الأمان مني ولا تعلم أحدا هذا الدعاء، وقال يا عدو الله سأنشره بين الناس وأعلمه الصغير والكبير، وهو قول اللهم إنك سلطت علينا عدوا بصيرا بعيوبنا مطلعا على عوراتنا يرانا هو وقبيله من حيث لا نراهم، اللهم فآيسه منا كما آيسته من رحمتك وجنته منا كما جنته من عفوك وباعد بيننا وبينه كما باعدت بينه وبين جنتك.
And that one of the righteous, that he used to make a particular supplication often, and then that he had an experience where he told the shaitan that he was going to tell this to other people, whereas the shaitan didn't want him to do this, and he said, no, I'm going to tell people this. And this was a dua for protecting oneself against the shaitan. And then that this dua states, that in rough translation, that, oh God, you have subjugated us to a shaitan. That is, an enemy that knows our faults and is overlooking our affair. He and his army see us whence we don't see them, whereas we do not see them. That, oh God, make them, shaitan and his host, despair from this the way that you have made him despair from your mercy. And then to distance us from him the way that you have distanced him from your pardon.
وباعد بيننا وبينه كما باعدت بينه وبين جنتك.
And that to distance us from him as well, the way that you have distanced him from your paradise.
يقول ولو قام بحق المجاهدة تصدر جميع الصفات المحمودة والأخلاق الحسنة من هذا الضبط بتحكيم العقل والشرع.
And whereas the opposite is true, that all good character and all praiseworthy qualities, that they stem from keeping these faculties and the realities that exist within the human being in check and placing them under the supervision of the intellect and the direction of the sacred law.
وأقربنا من نبينا في القيامة أحاسننا أخلاقا.
And the closest of us to our Prophet on the Day of Judgment are the best of us in character.
قال ولو عكس الأمر وظهر الجميع تحت سياسة الصفة الربانية لاستقر في القلب من الصفات الربانية العلم والحكمة واليقين والإحاطة بحقائق الأشياء ومعرفة الأمور على ما هي عليه والاستيلاء على الكل بقوة العلم والبصيرة واستحباب التقدم على الخلق لكمال العلم وجلاله ولا استغنى عن عبادة الشهوة والغضب.
And were this affair to be reversed, and were he to overcome that all of these different elements that exist within him, and were he to place them under the rule of the Sifa Rabbaniya, this lordly trait, that what would then be placed in his heart from these lordly qualities, from knowledge and wisdom and certainty, comprehending the true nature of things, and having knowledge of matters as they truly are, and that having this istila, that overcome, having been everything being subjugated to him through the power of knowledge and inner sight, and he would attain this worthiness to advance beyond other aspects of God's creation through his perfect knowledge and majesty. And
يقول ولا انتشر إليه من ضبط خنزير الشهوة لأنه ليس المقصود من الإنسان أن يبعد من نفسه الشهوة والغضب فذلك غير ممكن بل ولهما مهمات لابد منهما في الحياة ولابد منهما لاكتساب الكمال أيضا ولكن أن يضبطهما. لما تخيل بعض الناس أن المقصود من المجاهدة إبعاد الغضب والشهوة وجدوا أنه لا يبعد فتحيروا في أمورهم وتنكبوا في الطريق. ليس المراد إبعادها ولكن ضبطها وتقويمها.
And so that he then wouldn't be in a state of worship of the desire or anger, and that so what is meant by understanding and placing these different faculties in check, i.e. that of desire and anger, is just that you don't remove desire or anger from its root, because it never can be uprooted from the human being. And this is why that some of the righteous were amazed that even when they struggled against themselves that they found that these realities still existed. But the point is that to have desire and anger be in control.
ففي خاتمة هذا الدرس يذكر لنا ما الذي يحصل عند ضبط الغضب والشهوة.
And at the end of this section that he's going to summarize for us that what are the praiseworthy results of keeping the faculty of desire and anger in check.
قال ولا انتشر إليه من ضبط خنزير الشهوة ورد إلى حد الاعتدال صفات شريفة مثل العفة والقناعة والهدوء والزهد والورع والتقوى والانبساط وحسن الهيئة والحياء والظرف والمساعدة وأمثالها.
And then what comes from these traits that stem from holding the pig-like nature of desire in check and returning it to its proper limits, or all of these honorable traits like iffa, traits like virtuousness, contentment, traits like hudur, which is serenity and calmness, that zuhud, which is abstemiousness, that scrupulousness, piety, happiness, that modesty, having a beautiful appearance, sagacity, helpfulness, and the likes.
ويحصل فيه من ضبط قوة الغضب وقهرها وردها إلى حد الواجب صفة الشجاعة والكرم والنجدة وضبط النفس والصبر والحلم والاحتمال والعفو والثبات والنبل والشهامة والوقار وغيرها.
And by balancing the faculty of anger and by overcoming it and that returning it to its proper place, that it will lead to all of these beautiful character traits like courage, generosity, gallantry, self-control, patience, forbearance, endurance, pardoning, steadfastness, nobility, valor, and dignity in others.
وفي الخبر أن الشيطان يقول إني أوسوس في قلب ابن آدم فإذا غضب اقتربت إلى رأسه فصرت ألعب به كما يلعب الصبيان بالكرة.
That we find in a narration, it states that the shaitan says that when I whisper into the heart of the son of Adam, and that when the son of Adam becomes angry, that then I then have the ability to play with him and move him about the way that a child plays with a ball.
وبعض الناس يشتكي غلبة الغضب عليه وفي الحديث أن دعاء يسكن ثورة الغضب عند الإنسان يقول اللهم أذهب غيظ قلبي اللهم أذهب غيظ قلبي مرحبا وأعذني من مضلات الفتن اللهم أذهب غيظ قلبي وأجرني من مضلات الفتن اللهم أذهب غيظ قلبي وأجرني من مضلات الفتن.
And so that some people complain uncontrollable anger, and that we find that when there's a dua that our Prophet gave us for anger, that if you say this particular supplication right in the moment of that rage, is that it will calm one down, and it is Allahumma adhib ghayza qalbi, that oh God, that remove the rage that is in my heart and to protect me from these tribulations that will lead me astray.
وإذا أكرمت بدعوة أخ في الله أو صالح فذلك من خير ما يساعدك على النفس.
And that if you have someone that is righteous or a good friend that prays for you, this is one of the greatest ways to assist you in overcoming your nafs.
ولقد وضع النبي يده على صدر فضالة فتحول من كافر مبغض إلى محب صادق مخلص في الله.
And we saw that our Prophet, that when he put his noble hand on the chest of Fadala, that he transformed from a disbeliever who was filled with rage and hate to a believer that was filled with noble qualities.
وكانت امرأة في المدينة فقدت الحياء وصارت جريئة كثيرة الجراءة فيضرب بها المثل في قلة الحياء فجاءت النبي يأكل فقالت ناولني من طعامك.
And that we find that there was this lady that was doing all different types of things, that she had no modesty and was falling into a whole bunch of things, and she found that the Prophet ﷺ eating one time, and that she said that, oh, Messenger of God, let me eat from some of your food.
فناولها لقمة فقالت لا من فمك.
And that he gave her a morsel of food, and she said, no, I want it to come from food that you've chewed.
فأخرج لها بعض ما في فمه من الطعام وناولها إياه.
And so that the Prophet took some of the food that he had chewed, and that he gave it to her.
فما استقر في بطنها حتى امتلأت حياة فكان يضرب بها المثل في الحياة في المدينة.
And so that food did not settle in her stomach, except that whereas previously people used to use her as an example for everything terrible, that then she had so much modesty and haya that they used to use her as the exemplar for that trait.
فالله ينظر إلينا بمحبته لهذا النبي الكريم وبقدره عنده ويطهرنا ويطهر قلوبنا ويصفي صفاتنا ويجعلنا وإياكم من المنتفعين النافعين الموفقين المسعودين يا رب اهدنا لأحسن الأعمال والأخلاق فإنه لا يهدي لأحسنها إلا أنت واصرف عنا سيئها فإنه لا يصرف عنا سيئها إلا أنت ثبتنا على الحق فيما نقول وثبتنا على الحق فيما نفعل وثبتنا على الحق فيما نعتقد وعصمنا من الشرك واغفر لنا ما دون ذلك وهيئنا لأن تتزكى نفوسنا وتطيب أخلاقنا وتصلح أفعالنا وتسدد أقوالنا ونحيا على حياة حسن المجاهدة بعون منك ومساعدة نرقى بها مراتب أهل الشرف الأعلى ونحوز بها الدخول في خيار الملأ وتدفع به عنا شرور الدنيا والآخرة تجعلنا من أهل الوجوه الناظرة التي هي إليك ناظرة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. زدنا من نوالك وعظيم إفضالك ما أنت أهل في كل شأن واختم لنا بالحسنى وأصلح شؤون المسلمين في هذه البلدان وجميع البلاد وادفع البلاء عنا وعنهم في كل خاف وبال وألهمنا الرشد والسداد والثبات على منهج الرشاد وأعدنا من كل سوء حاط بعلمك ورحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. صلى الله على المصطفى محمد وآله وصحبه ومن سار في دربه والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منا ومنكم بسر الفاتحة. في صحيح الإمام البخاري ذهبت النبوة وبقيت المبشرات.
We find in the authentic collection of Sahih Bukhari that our Prophet said that prophethood has gone, but what remains are these mubashirat, these givers of glad tidings.
قالوا وما المبشرات يا رسول الله؟ قال الرؤيا الصالحة يراها الرجل أو ترى له.
And then they asked the Prophet, and what are these mubashirat, these givers of glad tidings? And the Prophet said, it is a true dream that a believer sees or someone sees regarding him.
روي الإمام أبو الحسن الشاذلي قال رأيت أني دخلت إلى بيت المقدس فوجدت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على تخت مرتفع وحوله الأنبياء.
That the dream that Imam Umar bin saw was that he said that I saw in a dream that I was in Jerusalem and that the Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was on a raised platform and the other prophets were around him.
فسمعت موسى يقول له يا رسول الله إنك قلت علماء أمتي كأنبياء بني إسرائيل. قال نعم.
And that someone said that, oh Messenger of God, that we heard that you said that the scholars of my ummah, of my nation, are like the prophets of Bani Israel.
قال فهل ترينا واحد من علماء أمتك الذي هو الأنبياء فينا؟
So then they asked the Prophet, will you show us one of these scholars from your...
لما سألك ربك وما تلك بيمينك يا موسى قلت هي عصاي أتوكأ عليها وأشبها على غنمي ولي فيها مآرب أخرى ولم يسألك إلا ما تلك بيمينك فقط فكيف جئت بهذا كله.
And then that Imam Ghazali said to the Prophet Moses, and you, O Moses, when God asked you, ما تلك بيمينك يا موسى, what is that in your right hand, O Moses? And you respond to him by saying, that is my staff, that I use it to walk with, I use it to herd my sheep, and I have other uses as well. And that God only asked you what was in your right hand, and you mentioned all of these other things as well. So then Moses turned to the Prophet Muhammad and said that you were right, you told the truth, O Muhammad, that the scholars of your community are like the prophets of Bani Israel.
فخاطب النبي سيدنا موسى وعيسى فقال هل في أمتكما حبر كهذا؟ قال لا.
And then the Prophet spoke to both Jesus and Moses, peace be upon them both, and said, do you have a scholar who likes him in either one of your two ummahs?
ولذا كان الصالحون يقولون من علامة علماء الدنيا كراهتهم لكتب الإمام الغزالي ومن علامة علماء الآخرة محبتهم لكتب الإمام الغزالي. الله على الوجه المرضي لديه في السر والإعلان ندفع عنكم عن الأمة البلايا والجميع الفتن ما ظهر منها مبضا وحول أحوالنا والمسلمين لأحسن الأحوال اختم لنا بالحسنى وراض عنا في لطف وعافية بسر الفاتحة إلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. هذا من كتاب الإمام الغزالي في شرع عجائب القلب من جملة كتابه إحياء علوم الدين.
So the book that we'll be studying is a book by Imam Ghazali titled The Marvels of the Heart. This is one of the books, 40 books of Ihya al-Din.
ولم يلقب بين علماء السنة في المسلمين بحجة الإسلام إلا هذا الكتاب.
only Imam al-Ghazali amongst all the scholars of ISNA wal Jama'at were given the name Hujjat al-Islam, the proof of Islam.
وذكر الإمام أبو الحسن الشاذلي عليه رحمة الله رؤيا تتعلق بالإمام الغزالي.
And Imam Abu Hassan al-Shadhili mentioned a dream that he saw about Imam al-Ghazali. Why the righteous said that the sign of the scholars of the next world, the Akhirah, is their inclination towards the books of Imam al-Ghazali, and the sign of the scholars of this world, the present world, that is their dislike to the books of Imam al-Ghazali.
يتكلم عن مجمع أوصاف البلد.
The chapter that we're on now is the chapter that is dealing with the summary of the qualities of the heart.
قال رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا به بكم بتعليمه إن الإنسان اصطحب في خلقته 4 شوائب الأوصاف السبوعية والبهيمية والشيطانية والربانية.
So that Imam Ghazali says that indeed in the human being dwell together that 4 different realities. That the first is the predatorial qualities, the second is the bestial qualities, the demonic qualities, and the lordly qualities.
فمن حيث سلط عليه الغضب يتعاطى أفعال السباع من العداوة والبغضاء والتهجم بالضرب والشتم.
Insofar as that anger rules over him, then he will be overcome by the various acts of predatory beasts, from enmity, hatred, attacking people, insulting others.
ومن حيث سلطت عليه شهوته يتعاطى
Ummah that is like the prophets of Bani Israel.
فالتفت صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أين الإمام أبو حامد الغزالي.
And then the Prophet turned and he asked that where is Abu Hamid al-Ghazali?
فأقبل ودخل بينهم فجلس فسأله سيدنا موسى ما اسمك.
And so Imam al-Ghazali came and he sat before them, and then the Prophet Moses, he said, asked him, what is your name?
قال اسمي محمد بن محمد الغزالي.
He said, my name is Muhammad, the son of Muhammad, the son of Muhammad al-Ghazali.
فأراد أن يختبره سيدنا موسى.
So Prophet Moses, Islam wanted to test Imam al-Ghazali.
قال له سألتك عن اسمك وأجيت لي باسم أبيك وجدك وقبيلك. هذا من الأدب.
He said that I asked you merely about your name, but you gave me the name of your father and your grandfather and your tribe. He said, is this from proper etiquette and courtesy?
قال فالتفت الغزالي إلى سيدنا محمد يقول يا رسول الله أتأدب مع كلام الله تعالى أم أجيبه.
Then Imam Ghazali turned to the Prophet and said that, O Messenger of God, that should I have etiquette with the Kalim of Allah, the one who is spoken to by God, i.e. Moses, or should I respond to his question?
قال بل أجبه.
And the Prophet said, respond to his question.
قال وأنت يا كليم الله